Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is AJ from Paladin Journal, and no introduction today, no lengthy description of what we're going to do. I'm just going to go right into it. The news broke out today that Lucasfilm and Disney, they have canceled Star Wars: The Acolyte Season 2. It's not really a cancellation as much as they're not picking it up for another season. We got one season already. It was like 8 episodes. And the finale came out like less than a month ago, and I'm here right now because I'm fucking pissed at the way that they've handled this, and it's extremely infuriating. So I'm out here dressed in my Stormtrooper t-shirt with some Imperial and mixed Star Wars iconography slacks with 2 lightsabers, red and blue, classic colors. And I just want to say I hate what Lucasfilm and Disney are doing with this franchise. They are fucking things up left and right. You've never heard me drop an F-bomb in a video before probably. So this one, strap in. You're going to be hearing a lot of F-bombs because I'm fucking pissed and this is fucking stupid what they are doing. Excuse me, families around and stuff. So anyways, Star Wars: The Acolyte, it debuted to some great views. There was a lot of buzz, there was a lot of hype for it, but soon as people started to realize in the wider fandom, the zeitgeist or whatever, that the creator of the series, Leslie Headland, that she's a queer person, that the lead actress is she's African American, or she's black. There's a lot of POC representation in the series. There are hints as the show progressed. There are some hints that some of the characters, they might also be LGBTQIA+, and so on and so forth. And that some of the best actors on the show, they're all either women or they are POCs. So you got Rebecca Henderson as Master Vernestra. You got Lee Jung-jae as Master Soul. Delivering absolutely great performances. Amandla Stenberg as the double character, she was great. Daphne Keane, who plays Jackie, Padawan Jackie on the show, she was absolutely amazing. She gave us some of the best lightsaber action scenes we've seen in Star Wars to date. And then again, Manny Jacinto playing the stranger Chimere. He, again, same thing as Daphne Keane, and also Charlie Barnett. Excuse me if I get their name wrong. I apologize. These 3 people, they did a lot of their own stunts. You can see the behind the scenes videos on social media. They're all out there. You can even see them doing it in pairs, especially Daphne and Manny. They were doing their action scenes in choreography and doing the training in choreography. Doing it in, they're all synced up. They're doing the same moves and everything. And you can see that how much they are all inspired by Hayden Christensen, our own Anakin Skywalker. And because, we know for like the last 20 years that him and Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, those guys did a lot of their own action choreography, especially in Revenge of the Sith. And those BTS videos, they are absolutely golden, and they are part of the legacy that George Lucas has given us. And I'm just frankly surprised at how much Disney and Lucasfilm today are fucking things up. Let's go back to where everything started with Disney, right? When they bought out Star Wars from George Lucas, and they declared that all this Star Wars expanded universe, it was all not canon. Okay, fine, I get it. George Lucas held that view himself, and it's fine to a degree. But again, from my perspective as a fan, as somebody who's invested so many hours and days and even probably years at this point now to Star Wars, reading up on all the lore that I could, reading up on all the books, I have a huge collection. It's not a spectacular collection by any means, and I have a lot of really old copies that are just decaying at this point because they're just that old now. And I don't have a lot of the fancy editions or absolutely zero editions, and a lot of that stuff. But I've read a lot of different stuff in Star Wars, whether it's the comics, whether it's the novels. I've listened to a bunch of the audio dramas, especially the one with Uli Keldroma. Really good stuff. Highly recommend it. I believe that's also the one that has Exar Kun. I'm not sure. But yes, that's really good stuff. And so much. Okay, fine. You want to declare that non-canon? Okay, go ahead. Give us something brand new. Then they launch The Force Awakens Episode 7, and it's just a retread of Episode 4. Then they shift gears in Episode 8, and they give us The Last Jedi, and that was what it was. I have strong feelings about it, but this is not the place to go into it. And then they bring back J.J. Abrams for Episode 9 after the job he did on 7, and wanting to, pretty much do away with the kind of story and direction that Rian Johnson was doing in The Last Jedi, and it is a mess. Yes, those 3 movies were a financial success, but did they really cement a new phase for Star Wars? I would say not, because we haven't gotten a new Star Wars movie with those characters yet. All we have gotten so far is, I think they announced it last year at Celebration, or maybe this year, that there's going to be a Rey movie coming out. And it's set quite a few years after Episode 9, and that it's going to deal with Rey having her own Jedi Order and, all of that stuff. Why Disney? If your movies were a financial success, why did you take almost 10 years for a new trilogy? Like Force Awakens, I believe it came out in 2015, and then Episode 8 came out in 2017, and then Episode 9 came out in 2019, I think, something like that, right? So it's not 10 years for the next movie, but it's 5 years and counting now. The movie hasn't even started production yet, I believe. Sure, we've had some really good TV shows in the meantime. We got The Mandalorian, we got Kenobi, we got Ahsoka, we got animated shows like Star Wars The Rebels and The Bad Batch, and so much more. But then, again, they keep fucking it up. The Bad Batch just ended this year, and there's no information on whether we're getting anything more with those characters. Now, I will say I've only seen season 1 of The Bad Batch. I quite liked it. I tried to watch it last year. I couldn't. I came back to it this year. I really enjoyed season 1. I do plan on doing a review of that very soon, which is why I haven't gone ahead and seen seasons 2 and 3 yet, because I want to still have that thing fresh in my mind, and I don't want to confuse details. We've had Star Wars Visions, which was an amazingly different take on the whole franchise, right? And it cemented something bold and futuristic for where Star Wars could go. And that is reflected in TV shows like Andor, which, I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it was pretty decent, but it was a bit too serious for my taste. But again, Star Wars Andor has brought in so many new fans, and I love that for the franchise. That is what we should all be aiming for. That is what should be the goal at Lucasfilm and Disney, is how we do new projects that bring in new fans, because you cannot depend on the existing fans forever. A lot of your existing fans, Disney, Lucasfilm, they hate the franchise. Every person who goes out on the internet and who talks shit about any of your projects, and I'm not talking like, actual valid criticism, I'm talking absolute shit like, oh, this is absolutely crap. Oh, Disney has gone woke. Disney has gone, POC. There's so many women in Star Wars now. All that stuff, all that shit doesn't matter. Those people are not fans. They were never fans. They will never be fans. And if you cater to those fans, you are making a mistake. And ultimately, that's what brings us down back to Star Wars: The Acolyte. It was a show that showed off a lot of great female characters. It's a show that showed off a lot of LGBTQ actors and performers and characters, and it was literally a great new era for the franchise. Not only because it dealt with a wholly different era of the franchise, because the High Republic is something we've never seen before in live action or even in animation, as far as I know. Yes, it's existed in some comics, it's existed in some books, but The Acolyte was the first new bold foray for 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 the visual medium, and now we aren't gonna get anything. It gave us amazing characters in Master Soul, Master Endara, Carrie Ann Moss. I'm so sorry you were done so dirty by Disney and Lucasfilm. Your first great outing as a Jedi, as a character in Star Wars, and you were done dirty. I'm so sorry. The entire cast. I am so sorry, you guys. None of you deserve any of what Disney has thrown on your plate, especially since just this last week they were going around in different cons all over the US, everywhere, and they were high profiling the Acolyte. They have a high profiling Manny Jacinto, who is the biggest star, literally, to come out of Star Wars The Acolyte. The portrayal of the Sith, the portrayal of the Force, the portrayal of the Jedi as a deeply flawed order. We saw hints of that in episodes 1, 2, and 3. But Star Wars The Acolyte, it just went in a completely different direction. And it showed us how the fall of the Jedi got kickstarted. It was happening for a while. It kickstarted during the end of the High Republic era. And by the time we get to the prequels, it's in full force. It cannot be stopped. And I'm just so mad that all these wonderful new characters, this wonderful new setting, how all of that has just been left by the wayside. It's being dropped by the wayside. And Disney is making an absolute huge mistake, because the show got a review bomb even before it released, because the chuds were absolutely, they were mortified that a show like this could happen with POCs, with, queer people that these guys, they just don't understand. They can never hope to understand, because in their mind, all they think about is hate. And that is the absolute wrong way to live. Me, I don't like the sequels. I detest a lot of that stuff, but you're not going to find me out there proclaiming that stuff on everybody on social media. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut for the most part, unless it's something in a video like this. And I'm just going to say, I don't like it, and that's just it. People like it, it's their choice, it's their preferences. I'm fine with that. Not everything in Star Wars, not everything in any fandom is for everybody. We have to realize that. Different projects are made for different audiences. They're made for different niches. And you cannot just, have like an all-comers attitude to it. The creators, they should aim for the maximum demographic, but at the core, there is a particular set of demographics that they're aiming for. You have to realize that if something doesn't work for you, just leave it. Let it be. Come back to it after, a year, 6 months, 18 months, whatever. When Star Wars Rebels came out, I watched it till like the middle of the first season, and then I didn't watch it at all until last year. Like I said, The Bad Batch. I started watching season 1 last year, didn't get into it, came back to it this year. I loved it. Star Wars Rebels, it had a really shaky start. I came back to it last year, saw the full thing. I quite liked the final 2 seasons. I thought they were pretty good. There were some problems I had with some of the stories, but it's a decent show. I mean, that really is what matters most, right? If you look hard enough, if you give something a chance, you can find something that you like. And, with the decision that Disney has made to effectively cancel Star Wars The Acolyte, they're bowing down to the pressure by all these internet trolls, all these internet bullies who said that, Disney, go woke, go broke, and all that other stuff, and all the horrible, horrible comments they have left for the director of the series, for all the actors. If you go on Amanda Stenberg's Instagram page right now, you can see a lot of seriously hateful comments on our Instagram posts right now. Whether you're watching this video right now, or as it's come out in like the next 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever, or you're watching it a day later, 2 days later, whatever, unless she ends up deleting any of those posts, she is suffering some of the most hateful comments we've seen. Star Wars apparently didn't learn the lesson with episode 1, with all the hate that was directed against Jake Lloyd, who played young Anakin Skywalker, all the hate that was directed against Ahmed Best, who portrayed Jar Jar Binks in all 3 movies. All the hate that Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Kelly Tran. They suffered during during the shooting and the release of the sequels and everything. Star Wars fandom did not learn its lesson. Disney and Lucasfilm, they did not learn their lesson. What is even going on right now at Disney and Lucasfilm? I have no freaking idea. Kathleen Kennedy, when the sequels were coming out, I think it was when the sequels were coming out, she made a statement during one of the press tours for one of the movies. It was like, "Yay, the Force is female." Yeah, great sentiment. I'm all for that. Because they were highlighting a really great female Jedi, something that Star Wars hadn't done until that point, at least in live action. But where is all that now? Sure, they gave Ahsoka a season 1, but the announcement for season 2 was buried under a ton of info on the upcoming Mandalorian Grogu movie. That was just finally announced a few days ago, and it was like, oh yeah, it's going to be Mandalorian Grogu, and it's mostly going to focus on those two characters, and it's not really going to have cameos from the larger Mandoverse, as we're calling it right now, because a lot of the shows that Disney is putting out at the moment, at least in live action, they are all centered around the Mandalorian. So Book of Boba Fett would be working with that. Ahsoka, it would be working with that. And of course, the Mandalorian, with season 3, and it gave us a great connection to the Clone Wars series with Bo-Katan, finally getting her big due and getting so much on screen, which is like amazing, But where is Kathleen Kennedy right now? The Book of Boba Fett, it's in limbo forever, because while they have not announced that the show has been canceled for season 2 and beyond, it is effectively canceled. Temuera Morrison, the guy who's played Boba Fett and Jango Fett for the last 22 years, thereabouts, he's like, yeah, I don't know when I'm getting the call. I don't know if I'm going to be in the Mandalorian Grogu movie, which is like an absolutely horrible thing to witness as a fan, just overall, because, as the meme goes on social media, George Lucas, I want this perfect soldier, and he picks Temuera Morrison to be that perfect soldier that he wanted to see millions of copies of on screen, and in the lore, he picked Temuera Morrison. Temuera Morrison has done an amazing job as both Jango Fett in episode 2, and later on in the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian as actually Boba Fett. It's like, what is Disney even doing? He is literally one of your biggest prequel stars right now. Yeah, sure, Ewan McGregor came back for Kenobi, but is anything happening with Kenobi further on? Or is that show in limbo too? I believe it was supposed to be a movie, and then they reduced it to just like, 6-episode, 8-episode season, and that's all we got, which, I'll admit, I really love this show, especially since we got the team up, so to speak, of Hayden and Ewan back in live action, and seeing them do scenes from like the prequel era that are set between episode 2 and episode 3. Yeah, that is freaking great, man. And I will fight anyone who says, with both my lightsabers, I'll fight anyone who says that the Kenobi sucked. I'll fight you. I'm not kidding. My lightsaber might not be the fanciest, but you can be damn sure I'm going to swing the hardest. Alright? Same with Ahsoka. I love the show Ahsoka. Episode 5 of Ahsoka is probably going to be some of the best live action stuff we've ever seen in Star Wars. And that includes the original trilogy as well. What is happening? Why are so many shows being canceled? A few years back, like I think 3 years back or something, maybe 4 years, they announced like 15 different projects moving forward with Star Wars. There's going to be a bunch of movies, there's going to be a bunch of shows, and today, most of them are either canceled before they could ever start any kind of production, or they've just been stuck in the season 1 limbo, post-season 1 limbo, sorry, where we have no idea what's going to happen to that. And yes, I know Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Sith have come out, and those are amazing shows, but those are like, short shows. That doesn't really whet the appetite. They're like an entree. We want the full course freaking meal. That's what we want. That's what a full season of a show is like. The way that streamers in general are handling television today, in this day and age, right now, the way they're handling all that stuff, it is an absolute disaster. Shows get canceled after season 1 if they don't, if they don't hit these weird, super successful metrics, and shows get canceled for like no apparent reason. Fans have to beg and yell on social media to get their shows renewed, like what happened with Lucifer twice. So many other shows, or the showrunners end up being absolutely douchebags, and they literally crap on the franchise that they're working on, like what Game of Thrones. What are the names? I even forget. D&D, whatever, Dan Weiss or something. I really don't care about getting their names right. They literally fucked over the last 2-3 seasons of Game of Thrones. The Witcher, the absolute horrible mismanagement on that show related to the story, related to everything. That saw Henry Cavill exist, and they have now brought in discount Chris Hemsworth, his brother Liam Hemsworth. He's gonna be the Witcher. It's really not the same thing, And there's like so much stuff. Marco Polo got canceled after season 2, bad ratings. It's like all these people who are making television today in the last 10 years and counting now. All these people, all these showrunners who are making all these shows, all these studios that are greenlighting all these shows, none of them could work in the era from like the 70s and 80s and the 90s and the double O's. We got shows like Star Trek The Next Generation, Smallville, Star Trek Enterprise, and other shows. There's so many other shows. Supernatural, Blue Bloods, NCIS, a lot of these shows, JAG even, a lot of these shows literally could not have been made after, dismal season 1s. And those are shows that have gone on not only to multiple seasons, but a lot of these shows, they have ended up spawning more shows. Star Trek TNG, it gave us a phenomenal 7-season arc, and then it split off into Star Trek DS9, Voyager, and everything that resulted from that. Even today, all the movies that came out of that, all the new shows that have come out like Picard and Lower Decks, Discovery, and Academy is going to be coming very soon, I believe. Not sure if Star Trek Academy has already been released, or if all the talk is about a new season or whatever, but whatever. Like I said, literally none of that exists without the revival of Star Trek in the mid-80s with TNG, and after that dismal failure of season 1, because Patrick Stewart wanted to quit, and the stories were not good. Like, it had one of the most interesting season openers, season premieres with the episode 1, but come on, Smallville, it was literally mutant of the week for most of the first season, and even into the second season and everything. But that show went on for 10 freaking years, and it spawned a whole slew of other shows, indirectly or directly. Yes, there was the failed attempt at the Aquaman show, but literally, just a few years later, CW rebooted things, and they gave us Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, Legends, and so much other stuff, and we've had the chance to see so many other shows like Constantine, and we got the Wixen animated series, and all the team ups they did for the Arrowverse and everything. All those, all such great stuff, man. NCIS has spawned of like 20 spin-offs. You think those shows can happen without the chance being given to those teams to step up to the plate and improve? No, it's not going to happen. And that is something that Disney and Lucasfilm need to understand right now. You are looking at the absolutely wrong metrics if you want to have a healthy franchise. Because what you need is to let your creators have the time and resources they need to tell the stories properly. Star Wars The Acolyte, it's an 8-episode season 1, where the first 6 episodes they're just about 30 minutes long. That really is not enough time. And I've said as much in my reviews of each of the episodes as they came out on my channel. You can watch the playlist and you can see that. I make this point again and again. We did not have enough runtime, and while yes, the stories for the show were ultimately, structured to fit that time limit, it ultimately did not work. If we had had more time per episode, if we had had 2, 3, 4 more episodes, it could have been a much better show. Because as it was, it felt, the overall pacing was a little rushed. Some of the acting didn't land quite as bit because the story was a little stilted, and so on and so forth. But again, I'm just saying this again and again and again. We got some of the best talent from that show. Whether it's just the actors themselves doing their own stunts or the entire production team, they did a magnificent job. Kofar, episodes 4 and 5, they were absolutely amazing episodes. Just the entire cinematography of those 2 episodes, the fight choreographies in those 2 episodes, it was absolutely some of the best that we've ever seen for Star Wars. Andor, we're going to be getting a season 2, and that's literally it. I read somewhere today that originally it was meant to be a 5-season show and then got cut down to 2 seasons, which I can kind of understand that from an outside perspective. That we know where his story ends. Cassian Andor's story ends in Rogue One when he joins up with the rebellion and he dies on that planet while recovering the Death Star planets. And it's like, how much more story can you tell? Because you are going to, it's a prequel show, so you are going to fall in the trap of trying to, explain too many things or try to do too many things, and then, some of that is going to conflict. But again, what is Disney doing? You look at Solo, a movie I did not like because I'm a fan of the original novel trilogy that explains Han's origins and that I've read quite a few times. And the movie changed so much stuff. It tried to explain too many things, but again, we get this one amazing cameo at the end of the movie with Darth Maul that is never paid off again. And again, same goes for the Acolyte. We have the reveal of not only Darth Plagueis in the season finale, but also Yoda shows up. Yeah, sure, we only see the back of his head and the back of his body, but come on, there's so much potential there, and you are ignoring an amazing setting to explore new stories, to explore new characters that are different from the ones that we usually hear about, which is a Skywalker saga. Yeah, we've had 9 amazing movies out of that. We've had so many novels, so many comics. When Disney got the license for Star Wars, immediately Marvel started pumping out more new comics again. They used to have the franchise before it went to Dark Horse, and then now they've rebooted a lot of stories, try to retell a lot of stuff and everything. So it's whatever. But where's my content outside of the Skywalker saga? That is what the Acolyte was all about, because it was apart from all of that. It linked up to the Skywalker saga, it linked up to the prequels, it linked up to a lot of knowledge we know about the Force, the Sith, and everything from those 6 movies under Lucas, but it also told so many new stories. It went off in so many different directions, and it gave nuance to not just the Jedi, but also to the Sith. Because if you only see the Sith as, these evil people who can do no good stuff, they're only evil, that's not a good story. Not to say that that's what George Lucas did, but that's kind of the look you get. That's kind of the vibe you get, because we never see an introspection on what the Force is. Disney failed with that in the sequels, and Leslie Hedden, the showrunner for the Acolyte, she tried to do that stuff on the show, but ultimately that didn't work out either. Because now she's not gonna have time or the space to tell her story. to take those concepts, to take those ideas further. And we're never seeing Manny Jacinto again, as I said. We're never seeing Amanda Stenberg as a Jedi and a Sith again. And, we're never going to see Master Vernesco again. And, so many characters already died in the show. And it's like, what was all of that for? People invested so much of their own time in hyping up for the show. Whether it was, overly positive, or it was, just positive, or whatever, or people who even had like legit criticisms, who wanted to see the show improve for a future season or 2 or 3. All of that effort is just gone wasted because some corporate schmuck thinks that the show wasn't successful enough. And that mentality, it's ruining Hollywood. It's gonna ruin television. And man, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. It's like, where is the confidence for new shows? Excuse me, I'm gonna move my chair a little bit further. Excuse me. Where is the confidence for new shows? If Disney comes out with a brand new show tomorrow for Star Wars, and they say, oh, it said 1,000 years for the prequels. Okay, I'll watch it, but in the back of my mind, it'll always be, oh, I have no confidence in Disney. It's going to be a 6-episode season. It's going to be an 8-episode season. Maybe it's an 7 or 9-episode season, and it's not going to get renewed. And I just won't invest so much of myself into the show. I won't get too attached to the show. And who comes out on top there? The company doesn't. The fans don't. Nobody does. The only one who gains are idiots and trolls who spread nothing but hate, and all they can think of is some stupid culture war that they're fighting in their minds, and they think that the rest of the world is fighting alongside them. And it's like, no, nobody is. It's all in their head. All this hate, all this bigotry that they're spreading out there, it's all in their mind, and literally no sane person gives a fuck. I don't know, man. I'm like super duper pissed off at this news. And what screws with my mind even more is that the news came out on Manny Jacinto's birthday. That is the worst thing that could have happened. Especially after, like I said earlier, he's just coming out of a great press tour for the show. And everybody's asking him, well, what about season 2? What about season 2? He doesn't know. Leslie Headland, people ask her, she doesn't know. She wants a season 2. Hell, we all want a season 2. But are we getting a season 2? No, we're not getting a season 2. Because, again, some corporate schmuck decided the show is not successful enough. That it wasn't in the top 2 of the streaming stats for, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever. And those people are all idiots. That's all I gotta say. This was something I felt really strongly about, and I just wanted to get some of my rants out. And I did up a little bit of theater. It's probably cringe to all of you people, but hey, man, it's like I said, Star Wars fans come in all shapes and varieties, and this is me. Just a guy from India who has the bare minimum of Star Wars accessories, and I make do with what I have. I hope you do. And if you want to save Star Wars: The Acolyte, if you want to save shows like Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, and you want more stuff in Star Wars, you have to make your voices heard. You absolutely have to go out on social media and save the Acolyte trending, renew the Acolyte trending. Do that. Show Disney that there is a strong demand for more of this show, more of Leslie Headland's vision for Star Wars, more of all these actors, more of all these writers who worked on the show, more from all of these stunt people who worked on the show, more from all the animators who worked on the show, more from every single person who was involved in the show in any kind of capacity, from the lowest to the highest. I don't give a damn. All of them deserve better than what this show is giving us. Than what Disney and Lucasfilm are giving us. Because all these problems go back to corporate schmucks at Lucasfilm and Disney. all these issues, they are ultimately have to be answered by Kathleen Kennedy and other executives in both companies who have made this decision. Where is your confidence in Star Wars? You paid George Lucas billions of dollars for this franchise, and you've done fuck all with it. That's what I'm going to say. You guys have done fuck all with this franchise because you've continually eroded trust in the franchise in every decade. Last one, this one, every single year you've eroded confidence in this franchise. Yes, you've given us some great stuff like The Mandalorian. Yes, you've given us great stuff like Ahsoka, Kenobi, Andor, The Bad Batch, Visions, Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Sith, and so much more. But you've failed because now you have shown everybody, every sane person out there, you've shown them that you are going to bow under pressure from idiots and trolls on the internet, that you are only concerned with the greediest, the most penny pinching of motives where the franchise is concerned. And you did not deserve to be custodians of this franchise. You have done a piss poor job, and I'm sure you're going to do a piss poor job of it in the future. All the creators who you've had work for you, you've done a huge disservice to every single one of them, to every single actor out there who wants to be in Star Wars, who has thought that, oh, one day I might be in Star Wars. You've shown them that even if it happens, your career is not going to go anywhere because we're just going to cut your knees out from under you. You know, like they've done with all the actors and all the performers on The Acolyte. And that's all to say. That's all what my anger is letting me say with a straight face, and without just devolving into a hate-filled rant. Because what I really want to do right now is I want to rant so badly about this, but I'm trying to not do it, trying to be at least a little bit cohesive in my thoughts, and because that's what you guys deserve. You don't deserve to hear a stupid rant on this day. So anyways, that's all for this video, and until next time, and I hope that within maybe a month, 2 months, I can maybe bring you another video where I exclaim my surprise and my happiness that The Acolyte has been renewed for a second season, that the Book of Boba Fett has been renewed for a second season, that Temuera Morrison, he is going to be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. He absolutely deserves to be there. He is one of the best actors that Star Wars has ever had, and it's a shame if he's not going to be in a Star Wars movie. That's all I got to say. Cheers, guys. Bye. May the Force be with you. See you later.